Hello friends, Bishop Andy C. Luter here, and I want to welcome you to my virtual classroom and my 5-minute Bible study. Friends, today I'm taking a look at the book of Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 through 3. I've entitled this particular lesson, What It Takes to See the Lord. And as you will see in this particular lesson, it is the testimony of Isaiah in this passage that at a particular time and under a particular circumstance, he was able to see the Lord. So in terms of this lesson examines one of the most popular scriptures in all of the Old Testament. It deals with a confessional statement made by the prophet Isaiah. So what is it that I want you to extract from this experience and take away from this particular lesson? 3 particular items. As a result of this lesson, you will learn who Uzziah was, and then the relationship between Uzziah and the prophet that is featured in this text, which is Isaiah. And then more specifically, I want to look at what did it take for Isaiah to see the Lord. All right. Let's take a look here at Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 through 3. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Verse 2, above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain or 2, he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. So friends, as we take a look at this particular passage, and before we turn our attention to Isaiah, who is giving this testimony, let's take a quick moment and consider the character in this narrative who is known to us by the name of Uzziah. Now, Uzziah is the king of Judah, and let me remind you that Judah is a part of the southern kingdom in the divided kingdom. There was a northern kingdom, a southern kingdom. The southern kingdom was known as Judah. The northern kingdom was known or yet retained the title of Isaiah. In the case of Uzziah, he reigned for a period of 52 years. He is also known in the Bible as Azariah. And so, in some other places, if you come across the name of Azariah, please know that you're still talking about the king that we here are calling Uzziah. He is the son of Amaziah. He is the father of Jotham. And we do learn that by the close of his life, he was struck with leprosy. Now, as we consider the book of Isaiah, here are some statistics that I always like to share with my audiences. Of the 66 books of the Bible, the book of Isaiah is the 23rd book of those 66 books. It consists of 66 chapters, 1,292 verses, along with 37,044 words, all of which make up the book that we called Isaiah. Now, Isaiah. Who was Isaiah? Isaiah was a prophet of Judah in the 8th century BC. Now, you'll remember that prior to the 8th century, back as far as the 10th century, Israel and Judah were one, and that's called the United Kingdom. And so the kings of that particular time, Saul, David, Solomon, presided over the United Kingdom. After the death of Solomon, the kingdom divides into 2, a northern and southern kingdom. And so the subsequent kings that we find, as in the case of Isaiah, are presiding or reigning over either the northern kingdom or the southern kingdom. In the case of Uzziah, he was in the southern kingdom. Now, Isaiah, who is a prophet, his ministerial career took place in the southern kingdom. He had a ministerial career or a prophetic career that lasted from Uzziah on one end of his career all the way to Hezekiah at the other end of his career. There are scholars who speculate that Isaiah very well may have been a nephew of King Uzziah. What we do know is that no doubt Isaiah was a member of the royal family. So let's take a look at the particulars of the passage. High and lifted up. Now, the position of God denotes his authority and visibility to all those who are seeking him. Remember, Isaiah says, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. And where was he? High and lifted up. Notice that he was not only high, but he was also lifted up. He was elevated. And that reference to elevation signals the authority that God has in the life of the believer. So, what did he see? He saw the Lord high and lifted up, but the Lord was accompanied by angels. Now, the angels here are stationed above the Lord who is lifted up. Now, this does not mean that they are over God, but are examples of the glory of God being heralded to the people. In ancient Hebrew culture, whenever a figure was seated in the presence of those who were standing were not over the seated one, but those who were standing were subject to the seated one, because the seated one, because they could be seated, were seen as the superior in the group. So because God is seated, he is the ultimate authority in that optical situation. The angels do not sit, they stand in the presence of God. Why? Because they are subject to God. And then, what is the recitation of the angels? An obvious reference to the Trinity. God is holy, the Son is holy, and the Spirit is holy. What do they say? Holy, holy, holy. The reference to the whole earth is to suggest that the whole earth is subject to God, since the whole earth, as described here, is full of God's glory. Now, I want to go here because this passage is very specific. It says, in the year that King Uzziah died. Not the moment, not the second, but in the year. I mistakenly believed that this passage was suggesting that Uzziah was blocking Isaiah from seeing God. Rather, I now understand that Isaiah could not see God until he needed him to help him, Isaiah, with his grief and mourning over the loss of Uzziah. That is why the reference says, in the year that King Uzziah died. Not at the moment, not in the second, or even the day that Uzziah died. Why? It was during the course of that year, while Isaiah was recovering from his grief and his sense of loss in terms of Uzziah. That's when he developed the reality that it took God to rescue him from his situation. Well, friends, that takes up just about all of my time, and I certainly want to thank you for yours. For the last few minutes, you have been watching my 5-minute Bible study, maybe a moment or two over. But today we have been talking about what it takes to see God. This is a lesson that I base upon the book of Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 through 3. I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson as much as I have enjoyed bringing it to you. And so, until next time, I am Bishop Andy C. Luter, reminding you that God loves you, I love you, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. God bless.